Malembe wo nile loko. Esiku dede asiko yi. Hey guys, it's Irúnmọlẹ again. Today, I'd like to talk about sacred forests and pass on a message that was given to me. So, I don't know why certain things come to, well, I know. I know. I was born under the waning gibbous spoon. So, I know that apart from anything else that I may be on earth for at this time, teaching and healing are two essential parts of my assignment. Also, because I have a YouTube channel and a way to pass messages on, a medium to do so, I feel like I'm going to be getting a lot of messages now and going forward. I wasn't exactly thinking about what I'm going to speak about, or I wasn't even curious about it, to be perfectly honest. I was just minding my own business and it came to me. So it could be because I was listening to certain songs yesterday and I guess inviting certain energies into my consciousness that it came to me. So I felt like at that point I was open open to hear and learn, I suppose. The reason why sacred forests existed, one of the basic reasons, according to what I was told. Now, I can't exactly tell you, it was this particular deity that told me and I was positioned this way and I was in a deep meditative state. No, it was sort of a, would you like to know? Do you think it's something that you would be interested in knowing? And of course, I said yes. In my mind, I didn't say, it wasn't a conversation, but in my mind, I was like, yeah, actually, why? Why did we have sacred forests and, Igbo, Kinikon, and Igbale, Kinikon? Why did we have sacred forests? And I feel like in several cultures, it's not just the Yorùbá culture. In several cultures, they've always been like a part of the village or a part of the town where there would be a lot of trees. And of course, when there are lots of trees, they make up a forest. And there's usually like a prohibition or a decree that you mustn't. They may even say you mustn't go there at all. And if you mustn't cut a tree out of there. People who, I was going to say people who lived in the 1800s. Of course, I don't think any of them are alive today. But the older generation know what I'm talking about. Back then, there would be a group of trees and they would say, Emma, Igbo, Igbo, it's the forest of, the deities or the spirits. So if you go there or you touch any of the trees, you might die. There was usually some reality, some myth about what these forests were all about and, what could happen to you if you went there. One of the reasons why the deities supported that or helped maintain that notion that if you went to a certain part of the forest, and you cut a tree from there, you might die, was because they were in some way helping us to maintain our earth or, to save the trees in some way. There's sort of an awakening of sorts to issues that are environmental at this time. We have people like Greta Thunberg and a lot of younger and older people talking about the environment. I feel like it was with the polar bears first, the bees, nature essentially is under attack, the seas and everything. But this was going to happen anyway. Like with the way that we were living as humans and the way that we cared so much about taking and taking and taking and not necessarily replenishing the earth, what were we expecting? Of course, we knew somehow deep in our, well, maybe we didn't care enough to think about it, but anyone who was sensible would have known that with the way things were going, it was going to affect us in some way. Although nature heals itself and replenishes itself, it is only to a degree. At some point, you have to be actively involved in that healing and that repairing as well. So if there was a village and there were a certain, number of trees, let's say in a particular place, rosewood trees in high demand or some other trees in high demand, you could cut a tree from any other part of the town or the city, but deep down you knew that if you went to the restricted area, you could get in trouble. The purpose of the prohibitions and the mysteries around this forest was to keep you away from them so that you could save those trees and so that you could save the wildlife in them. The spirit that we regard as Oshu, if you go back to the traditional story of how we began to honor her in the first place, humans, when they migrated to that part of, what is now Oshogbo today, what is now Oshun State today, when they migrated to that part and they were cutting trees and, making a place for settlement, they cut one of, it couldn't have been a literal dye pot, whatever it was, ikokwaro. It could have been, I'm not exactly sure, but in the process of cutting trees and clearing land, they sort of upset the deity a bit. And that was when the pact was made and, when she became a main protector of the Yoruba people. The humans have always, I said the humans like I'm not one of the humans. We've always been a bit selfish, a bit selfish with the way that we use, I'm using the word use on purpose, the way that we use the resources that Mother Nature has provided to us. When a person cuts a tree, sometimes they don't think about planting another one, and they've always been a bit of selfishness involved, and we don't necessarily use, we don't act our age, we don't act our state, we don't act the fact that we even know who we are at all, and that we are just visitors on this dense earth, and this is not our permanent home. Even if you're here for 100 years, you're still a visitor. It's not your home. Whether you like it or not, you will be forced out at some point. So we don't act like we know who we are. People would use things anyhow, use resources anyhow, kill anyhow, do whatever they like anyhow, without considering, that when you go to a person's house, when you go to a place, think of going to an Airbnb and you stay there for a week. You don't have to destroy the house or tear the house down before leaving. You can be decent to use the place like a normal like a normal human being. Actually, I don't know what a normal human being is, but like a sensible person. So we've always had this selfish streak. So one of the things that they could do for us was to, I guess, even with the use of what in English you would regard as cults, but when you say cult, it comes with, when you say group or union, it has a more positive, statement or feel to it than cults. So, whatever. But even with the use of these unions and whatever and leaderships, they were able to prevent people from just cutting trees anyhow. Or don't think this is something that came with the modern world. Oh, I wish I could go back to 1881 when everything was a-okay. No, trust me, humans were just as selfish then as they had today. Things were just as bad then as they had today. You may not get all of the coverage, but don't think that somehow humans were, if anything, maybe we're a bit even more sensible now compared to the way that when you think of some of the mistakes that our ancestors that lived then made, you would think, wow, did these people have a brain at all? No offense. And funny enough, you could have been one of the people that lived in that era, but you've come back to this one. So, but that was one of the good things that they were able to do for us. Create a sort of mystery around a particular place, a particular forest, and help create the myth. Would I say help create? But they had to do what they had to do to protect. And by protecting those trees, they were protecting us too. If they had said, oh, well, the reason why there's actually nothing, it's okay to come into this forest and to play here, but just ensure that you don't cut the trees or you don't harm the animals or anything. If they had said that, then with how warlike the people, certain people and groups were back then, and the way that they used their brains, they wouldn't have listened. They would have cut trees anyhow and settled anywhere and disregarded the earth. I feel like if you are going to be involved in deity worship at all, respect for the earth is one of the things that you very quickly learn. Some of our ancestors, in the course of disrespecting the earth, came to meet certain spirits, whether they were, just throwing refuse in the river, and the river got upset and said, look, you can't keep doing that, and you have to promise me that you're going to stop that, and you're going to be nice to each other, and if you need help from me, that you're going to come to me, and that kind of thing. That was how we met a lot of deities. And that is why we have deities for almost everything, where every major thing, whether it was farming or water, or we had and we still have deities for those things. They were trying to protect us through whoever it is that they passed the message through, to let us know that this place is sacred and you can't just go there and cut any tree and kill any animal. You can kill other animals in other places. I don't know if we should be killing animals. I don't want to go there yet, because the energy is going to be a bit intense when I get there. And even if you're going to kill an animal, the respectful way to do so, but trust me, it's not for now. It's not even for this year. I would have to really think before making whatever theory that I'm going to be making regarding that. But that's the purpose of sacred forests. Now, apart from the Osun-Osogbo sacred sites, and maybe some other mini ones around the country, people are so dirty, selfish, mean to nature and to the earth. It's absolutely horrible the way that people live without minding the earth. You just go up to a forest and you cut trees because you need to use those trees for, I don't know, toilet paper or exercise books, or without some of the tree. And I'm hearing now that some of the trees that have been cut, that especially the ones and I'm hearing it clearly at this time, especially the ones that were not planted by humans, had medicinal properties that were supposed to be explored, that were supposed to heal a particular ailment. So let's say that there was smallpox in the village and everyone was dying, and a tree suddenly grew out of anywhere. It was an answer to prayers. You were supposed to explore what to do with the bark of the tree, whether you were making agbo, traditional like herbal drinks, or you were using the plants to think about boy. I don't know how to say it in English. Or you were heating the plants, tasting the plants, or using them in your soups and stews to heal whatever ailment it is that you had. The purpose of the tree was for that. So trees that were given to us as gifts, as answered prayers, many of them have been cut just because people need to make toilet paper, or people need to make exercise books, or I don't know, people need space to build their little houses. I don't know, some other selfish reason. Now, I'm not saying it's absolutely terrible to cut a tree and, oh, how awful that I'm living in a house right now. And it's very, very likely that 500 years ago, it was a thick forest and, oh, it's awful. What I'm saying is, even if we are to cut trees, there's a respectful way to do it. People who are traditional herbalists, who are sincere, not just the nasty ones, because you will come across really nasty, supposedly spiritual people who you don't even want to be around, first of all. People who are traditional and respectful and aware, of what I'm saying, would know that even if you were to go to a tree and cut off certain leaves, whether for an herbal mixture, for anything, there's a respectful way to ask the tree. You don't just yank the leaves, yank, and you take the leaves and you go. You have to ask the tree politely, if it's okay with you. This is what I intend by cutting off your leaves. This is what I intend to use it for, and if it's okay, let me have it. And you cut it respect. Sometimes, and for those that this has happened to, sometimes some kind of breeze would blow that will cut it off for you. So that's a very sure sign that a tree is saying, sure, you can have it. You can have some of these leaves, or you can have some of these branches. That is one way to know. Two, you would just get the sense. Usually, you would be allowed to. It's not, why would the tree be there in the first place if it's not to either provide shade or to help in some way? But there's a way to politely ask. Anyway, I can keep talking till the end of the day, but if you have ever wanted to know why there were sacred forests and sacred rivers and sacred animals that you were not supposed to kill and sacred whatever, it was because spirits, ascended masters, were trying to protect them, and by doing so protect us, whether a particular animal was endangered, or whether there are some people that don't eat eyega, for example, and some would not eat a particular wild boar or something. If you go to different parts of the Yorùbá land, you will come across the idea of sacredness. You can't just eat anything, you can't just kill anything, you can't just cut any tree. But now when the Europeans came, and this is not to make you hate the Europeans anyway, for all I know, I could have been European, or you could have been to, in a previous lifetime. So there's no point to go on with the white people. No, none of that. But when they came and they started to bring anti-deity ideologies, they were probably doing more harm than good. It's okay to go to any forest and cut any tree. Jesus is more powerful than any tree or any deity. They taught us or encouraged us to take without necessarily teaching us how to. In the process of bringing civilization, they forgot to teach preservation. So somehow civilization and preservation, there was a bit of a mini clash between both. One wasn't teaching the other cut any tree so that you can make seats for your school, and cut any plant and kill any animal, because as a child of Jesus, you have the authority to do so, and all of that. So when the Europeans came, instead of teaching earth preservation and earth maintenance based lessons, they were teaching our ancestors, us, even till now, how to get to heaven and how to leave this earth. So it was quite distracting, because let me explain it to you in literal terms. Let's say you leave home to go to school, and when you get to school, the lessons that you're learning are lessons on how to get home. It's quite stupid, or descriptions of what your home looks like. You literally came from home. To bring it to the heaven and earth theory, there are different types of heaven. To use the word heaven, there are different places beyond earth. Places where you don't need a physical body to exist. That we all came from. We have people that are from our community from there, that know us, that we may even meet on earth. So instead of focusing so much on heaven, you came from heaven. You walk the streets of gold, whatever gold, the quality of gold on earth is even poorer compared to that of the spirit. You've been there, you've done that. Instead of learning how to preserve the earth and learning the actual lessons that you're supposed to be learning, you're learning how to go back home, and it's so nice at home. Is that why you're here? You should not disregard the main purpose of being here. Don't ever think that you can do anything that you like to the earth just because I'm human, and it's what we do. It's what we do as humans. No, it's not. It's what you do, but it's not what you should do. It's not what you should do. It's please, please, help wa, gegi, like be me, please stop cutting trees if you know that you absolutely don't need to. Use the earth sensibly. If you eat something, pick it up. Mommy, why pick it up. Don't throw your garbage on the street, and don't just be don't be dirty. Consider the earth, consider the animals. Don't throw your straws into the seas. Stop killing these animals. Stop killing Gemoja's animals. Try to use your 36. Emma Bino, but please use your sense, use your common sense with the way that you interact with animals, with the way that you use the earth. Please, you will go home one day. You will live here one day. Please now, please. So, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Please like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to. And continue to support my channel. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. And goodbye.